Bonjour, bienvenue à toutes et à tous à notre rendez-vous quotidien en ligne et en direct sur EBS. Nous sommes aujourd'hui le vendredi 13 novembre. Nous avons quelques annonces à vous faire avant de passer à vos questions. Comme chaque vendredi, je partage avec vous l'agenda de la présidente pour la semaine prochaine. Mercredi, elle présidera, comme en son habitude, la réunion du collège et, dans l'après-midi, la réunion du comité directeur de la Task Force sur la relance et la résilience. Mercredi toujours, elle participera à une vidéoconférence organisée par le Forum économique mondial sur le sujet « Promouvoir la coopération mondiale et renforcer les valeurs humaines dans le monde ». Et en fin de journée mercredi, la présidente rencontrera M. Winfried Kretschmann, ministre-président du Baden-Württemberg, M. Markus Söder, ministre-président de la Bavière, et M. Stefan Weil, ministre-président de la Basse-Saxe, via vidéoconférence. Jeudi, la présidente organisera une vidéoconférence sur la migration et l'asile, conjointement avec M. David Sassoli, président du Parlement européen, et M. Wolfgang Schäuble, président du Bundestag. Dans la soirée, elle participera à la vidéoconférence des membres du Conseil européen sur la réponse européenne au coronavirus. Enfin, le week-end prochain, la présidente von der Leyen participera au sommet du G20 via vidéoconférence. I now move on to the video conference of the day. Today, Commissioner for Home Affairs, Mrs. Ylva Johansson, is taking part in the informal video conference of Home Affairs ministers. The meeting is starting as we speak with a discussion on how to step up the fight against terrorism based on a joint statement by the EU Home Affairs ministers on the recent terrorist attacks in Europe. Later this afternoon, ministers will discuss the key elements for political understanding on the new Pact on Migration and Asylum presented by the Commission on 23 September and the way forward under the German presidency. A press conference with Commissioner Johansson will take place at around 14:45. You can follow it live on EBS, and we therefore invite you to direct your questions on migration, home affairs, and security to this press conference. With that, I am finished with my announcements, and we can now move on to your questions. For a second there, I thought we would not have questions, but we do. Lukasz, you have the floor.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So yesterday you received, or yesterday actually you informed about the receiving the letter from the Polish Prime Minister about the budget. So could you give us some comment about this letter, and do you have a plan just to reply on that letter? Thank you.
Thank you. I cannot provide you with a comment on the letter except to say that indeed I can confirm receipt of the letter. And of course, Lukasz, we always answer letters that we receive, in particular, of course, those from prime ministers, in due time. Is there another question on this issue? Christian, une question sur ce sujet? Non. David, une question sur ce sujet?
Oui, merci. Très rapide. Est-ce que vous avez répondu à la lettre du Premier ministre hongrois, vu qu'elle a été envoyée le week-end passé? Merci.
Nous n'avons, à ma connaissance, pas encore répondu à la lettre du Premier ministre hongrois. D'autres questions sur ce sujet? Gerardo. You need to press on the speak button.
It's actually on a different topic. It's not on this one.
Okay, let me check if there are other questions on this subject. I do not see any. So, Gerardo, go ahead. Christian, nous viendrons vers toi après. Gerardo, go ahead.
Thank you. It's a question on common agricultural policy, because earlier this week we've seen this letter from Ursula von der Leyen to the Greens, where she basically said that she was not considering to withdraw the common agricultural policy proposal. But at the same time, yesterday, Commissioner Timmermans did not rule out the possibility to withdraw the proposal. So I didn't quite get where the Commission stand when it comes to the possibility to withdraw this proposal, and at the same time, I didn't get the role of the Agriculture Commissioner in all this, in this situation. Because I mean, we have von der Leyen, Timmermans, but at the same time, we don't have a stance from the commissioner involved and tasked with delivering the common agricultural policy. So,
Right. Thank you. I pass the floor to Miriam on this issue first.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to underline that the Commission is determined to play its full role during the CAP trialogue negotiation as an honest broker and a driving force for greater sustainability to deliver on the European Green Deal objectives with the co-legislators. The aim is to have a common agricultural policy that is fit for purpose and effectively responds to the higher societal expectations in terms of climate action, protection of biodiversity, environmental sustainability, and fair income for farmers. Also, I would like to explain that the European Green Deal was introduced after the CAP proposals were made, but the Commission did not withdraw or modify the 2018 CAP proposal when we presented, because we believe that it has the potential to deliver on the Green Deal objectives. And that is why the Commission as a whole is determined to make the CAP more ambitious in terms of climate and environmental objectives, and it has to be aligned with the Green Deal objectives. In the interview, EVP Timmermans referred to the possibility to withdraw the proposal, but that doesn't mean at this stage that we are there. We are making all the efforts to make sure that during the trialogue negotiations, we discuss with Council and the European Parliament and bring the CAP in line with the European Green Deal objective.
Thank you, Miriam. And on who is taking positions on this in the name of the college, first of all, let me remind you that college decisions are taken collegially, in particular on such issues related to the negotiations on a particular proposal, and that Executive Vice President Timmermans is in charge of the cluster that also includes agriculture. Are there other questions for Miriam on the CAP today? I do not see any, so I open the floor again. I believe Christian. Christian, je pense que tu avais une question.
Oui, j'ai une question de politique étrangère pour Peter. Je viens de lire son communiqué sur la condamnation du décès du peintre bélarusse des suites des mauvais traitements qui lui ont été infligés lors de son arrestation. Et ma question, elle est simple. En fait, il annonce que l'Union européenne est prête à de nouvelles sanctions. Et je voudrais savoir qu'est-ce qu'on peut entendre par nouvelles sanctions à partir du moment où le président Loukachenko, quasiment tout le gouvernement sont déjà sur la liste noire de l'interdiction de visa et du gel de leurs avoirs. Est-ce que ce type de sanctions, on va les frapper au niveau du portefeuille pour couper les moyens financiers qui permettent de financer la répression, ou est-ce qu'on va ajouter une dizaine de personnes qui seront de moindre niveau à une liste qui visiblement ne porte absolument pas ses fruits? Merci.
Merci Christian. Peter n'est pas ici avec nous pour ce rendez-vous de midi, mais je passe la parole à Nabila au cas où elle a des éléments à ajouter. Nabila.
Bonjour Christian et merci pour ta question. Écoute, tout ce que je peux te dire, c'est que je reviens encore une fois sur la déclaration que tu as mentionnée. Et en effet, nous avons le haut représentant a parlé de sanctions additionnelles, mais tu connais très bien la manière dont les décisions sur les sanctions se prennent. Et donc, nous n'avons rien à ajouter à ce stade sur quel style de sanctions serait éventuellement prise dans le futur. Merci.
Merci. Y a-t-il d'autres questions de politique étrangère pour nous aujourd'hui? David.
Oui, merci Eric. C'est une question en fait adressée à toi sur la politique étrangère, parce que la première visite de la présidente de la Commission a été en Éthiopie. Vous savez très bien, tu sais très bien qu'est-ce qui se passe en ce moment. Et alors je me demandais, vu que c'était un acte politique important et ça signalait aussi une relation particulière avec les dirigeants éthiopiens, je voulais savoir si la présidente veut s'engager, prendre le téléphone pour essayer de jouer un rôle dans la crise actuelle en Éthiopie. Merci.
Merci David, et tu as tout à fait raison de souligner l'attachement que la présidente apporte au continent africain et à la relation de l'Union européenne avec le continent africain. Et elle se tient informée évidemment très précisément de ce qui se passe en Afrique en général et en Éthiopie en particulier. Tu sais aussi que, bien entendu, nous avons le haut représentant et vice-président qui est en charge de nos relations extérieures et qui suit lui aussi tout particulièrement ce qui se passe en Éthiopie pour le moment. Je ne vais pas rentrer ici dans les actions spécifiques de la présidente. Le collège agit en tant que collège. Et le moment venu, si la présidente prend des initiatives particulières, bien entendu, nous serons amenés à les communiquer si nécessaire. Anna. Anna, you have the floor. There seems to be a connection issue. So,
about killings of civilians. So my question is to Nabila, if she can react on this issue of human rights about reported by Amnesty killings of civilians, and very troubling situation because my colleagues can't get there. The Tigray region is absolutely shut off press, and also there's still no internet connection.
I'm afraid, Anna, that we missed the whole beginning of your question, but I understand it relates still to the Tigray region and the conflict.
I can repeat it.
Yes, please.
I can repeat it. Okay, my question is more specific on Tigray region because still we have no internet connection and my colleagues are not allowed to travel there. So we have no objective information about what happens. But we got the report of Amnesty International that the civilians were killed there. So, and I would like reaction of Nabila and European diplomacy on these events, because what we would like as journalists, we would like to see the access to Tigray region. And of course, I would like to have a reaction on these reported killings of civilians there.
Nabila.
Thanks a lot, Anna, for your question. As you have probably seen from the past days, we are extremely vocal about what is happening in Ethiopia, and we've been following the situation really very closely. DHRVP Borrell and Commissioner Lenarčič just last night expressed their deep concerns regarding the allegations of atrocities occurring in the Tigray and in Ethiopia, with ethnically targeted measures and hate speech, and all parties, and it was in the statement yesterday, that all parties should restrain and reinforce their calls to avoid incitement to hatred and violence. The demonization of ethnic groups is a vicious and lethal cycle from which Ethiopia must be spared. When it comes to the danger of the major humanitarian crisis, the statement was saying that it is is actually extremely important. The danger is imminent, and we are extremely worried about it. Human rights and international humanitarian law need to be upheld, including ensuring safe and free movement of civilians, as well as timely, independent, unimpeded, and unconditional access of humanitarian workers to most vulnerable. In this regard, the EU supports any action contributing to the de-escalation of the tensions, return to dialogue, and securing rule of law throughout Ethiopia. And I would remind you also, and it refers also to the question by David earlier, that during that the HRVP had a talk with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, in which he conveyed the EU's concern for the risk of integrity of the country and the stabilization of the wider region should the current situation endure.
Thank you. Are there other questions for us on this issue today, or more generally on foreign affairs? That does not seem to be the case. Are there questions for us on other issues? No, I do not see any. Ah, yes, Tommaso.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my question. It is just a question for competition, I guess, because I've read on the Italian newspapers that the Senate, the high chamber of the Italian parliament, approved an amendment to the decree on the coronavirus, which basically protects Mediaset from takeovers, from foreign takeovers. It is widely assumed that this amendment will protect Mediaset against the French company Vivendi. I also read that the European Commission might be involved in assessing the compliance of this amendment with the EU law. I wonder if you have anything to say about this. Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, it's a question more for Johannes, who is not here today, but I pass the floor to Sonia.
Yes. Thank you. Very good afternoon, Tommaso, and thank you for your question. Indeed, the Commission is aware of legislative developments in Italy. However, we understand that this is still a draft law, and as you know, we are not commenting on draft legislation. The Commission will, of course, analyze the law once it is adopted by the competent authority and by the Italian legislator, and will verify if it is in compliance with EU legislation. Specifically on the topic, as already mentioned in the past, I could reiterate that the Commission recognizes the utmost importance of protecting media pluralism. However, national measures need to be proportionate to this objective and thus not go beyond what is necessary to attain it, also taking into account the market developments and global industry trends. Also, the authorities in Italy need to ensure that national laws aiming to protect media pluralism comply with the treaty freedoms of services and goods as interpreted by the Court of Justice, and especially in the latest judgment in September, which concerns exactly this case. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there other questions for us today on this or on other single market issues? That does not seem to be the case, so I go back to Rafaela. Thank you, Sonia. Rafaela. Your mic source.
Now it works.
Can you? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, right now it works. Thank you. Eric, could you give us an update concerning Brexit negotiations, which will continue next Monday in Brussels, as far as I know? And what do you know about a possible grace period to allow Northern Ireland retailers to adapt to the significant changes, media messages we received today? Thank you.
Thank you. Question for Dan.
Hi, Raphael, and thanks very much for your question. On the ongoing negotiations with the UK, all I can say for the moment is that intense negotiations are continuing in London today, and as you rightly point out, they will continue here in Brussels next week. But as they are ongoing, I wouldn't want to give a running commentary at this point in time. Of course, we can be in contact, or there may be contacts as well with the UK over the weekend, but that's all that I would have to say for the moment. On the other question that you mentioned regarding the implementation of the protocol on Ireland and Northern Ireland, of course I wouldn't comment on press reports or anything like that. I don't think that would be particularly helpful at this point in time. I would just point out, however, that you know that the protocol on Ireland and Northern Ireland is there to protect peace and stability on the island of Ireland. It's there to protect North-South cooperation, to avoid a hard border on the island of Ireland, to protect the integrity of the single market. And you know now that the implementation of that agreement is of paramount importance. And that's why we are in contact almost on a daily basis now at this stage with our UK counterparts to ensure that it is entirely and fully operable on the 1st January 2021, which is at this point in time 49 days away. On the specific issue of supermarkets and the movement of what's called agri-food goods into Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK, this is a very serious issue. It's one that we are taking very seriously. We are in contact with our UK counterparts on this to find a solution. We are exploring all the options that are available to us under EU law to find a solution. And on the specific point, I can confirm that we did receive a letter a couple of days ago from the First Minister and the Deputy First Minister of Northern Ireland on this topic. And of course, we will reply to that letter shortly. But on the specific press articles that you mentioned, I wouldn't have any comments to make at this point in time.
Thank you very much. Other questions on Brexit or UK negotiations for Dan? I do not see any other questions for us today on other issues. That does not seem to be the case, so let me wish you an excellent weekend and see you Monday.